Welcome everybody to episode 31 of The Cover 2 presented by Tigervision. I'm Patrick Neal. That's Grayson Mann over there. For the first time in show history, we actually have a guest on the show. Everybody welcome in Kieran Devine.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna try this out. We'll see. Depending on how many views we get, maybe you can come back.
You're a guinea pig, basically.
Yeah,
that's right.
So, Kieran, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I guess just a little quick intro. As Patrick said, I'm Kieran Devine here, also a Clemson student, but definitely a much bigger fan of NFL when it comes to football here. I like to think that I've got some pretty, at least fun takes, so we'll say that. So excited to get into it here.
Certainly so far, some fun takes for sure.
But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing individual player award season predictions. So, that means MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Years, all that jazz. So, there's no real point in wasting any more time. Let's go ahead and get into it. Grayson, MVP. We'll start with the big one.
All right, yeah, the MVP. So last year, we've actually had a little bit of a consistency streak here going with the NFL with Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think that streak continues this year. For me, it's Josh Allen. I think Buffalo is far and beyond the best team in the NFL, and they're going to it's really going to show with Josh Allen. He's going to have guys like Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis is emerging, Dawson Knox. There's a lot of weapons for him to work with. James Cook as a running back is going to certainly open things up for him and make him more comfortable than he's ever been. I got Josh Allen. I think Buffalo will be the number one seed in the AFC. We've talked about it, so
we have
Josh Allen for me.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, I believe, is the odds-on favorite to win MVP.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be much of a surprise if he did win it.
I got the obvious pick here. That's why I went first.
Yeah. I like it. It's a very solid MVP pick. So, Kieran, what about you?
As we all know, the MVP in football these days, very much a quarterback award. I definitely think Cooper Kupp should have been a little more in the consideration last year, but gonna have to go with the quarterback here. Josh Allen, probably my second pick, but this was really close. I'm going with a little bit of a sleeper. I think we're going Lamar Jackson.
I actually like
that.
I like that.
The Ravens were the best team in the AFC last year until things just fell apart for them. It felt like everything that could have gone wrong for them went wrong, and John Harbaugh, one of the best coaches in the league, and Lamar Jackson, they're certainly going to have an edge to them this year. So I like the pick.
Second fastest QB, who's number 8 in the league.
Jeez.
That's right.
That's a preview, folks, for our first
Patrick, who you got?
I mean, I really like the Lamar Jackson pick. I think, I predicted last week that the Bengals would win the AFC North, but I think if the Ravens, I was very, very close to picking the Ravens, and if the Ravens I think the Ravens will have a very, very good year. If they win the AFC North, I think Lamar is right up there in the MVP race. But I'm going to go basically winner of the AFC West. I do kind of agree that it's tough that it's always a quarterback award for the MVP, but I'm going to go with Justin Herbert. I picked the Chargers to win the AFC West, and I just think whoever kind of wins the quarterback or wins the division there, the quarterback is going to be right up there with in the running for the MVP. Justin Herbert, he ranked second in passing yards last year. He ranked third in passing touchdowns and third in QBR. So I think he's got a lot of momentum going into this year. He has a very, very good roster behind him. It's the second year with his head coach, Staley, and I just think he's due for a very, very good season next year.
This one wouldn't shock me. There's a lot of you could almost say that each quarterback within that AFC West division has a legitimate shot to be an MVP candidate. If whoever wins that division is probably going to be posting pretty darn good stats, whether it's Carr, Wilson, Herbert, or Mahomes. They all have somewhat of a weapon or weapons to work with. So, yeah, this wouldn't shock me in the end of the season if the Chargers find a way to put it all together.
Yeah.
I will say, Justin Herbert, definitely a good, young, talented QB. Probably top 5 quarterback when all is said and done. Kind of looking at the stats here, but a very competitive division, so absolutely not the layup pick here. But
yeah.
No, yeah. Patrick is he's analytical though. He's got his stats posted. He's ready to make his case.
That's right.
I love it.
You got to have a bit of an argument.
Yeah.
You got to have reasons to back it up. But anyways, Offensive Player of the Year. This one is a little bit more. You can go a little bit more all over the place because it isn't always a quarterback. It's kind of almost like given to the player that isn't like the best non-quarterback in offense. It usually tends to go that way. Last year it was Cooper Kupp who kind of got that recognition for winning the Triple Crown. This year, I think personally Justin Jefferson is going to win this award. I think he's going to have an LA Rams type offense coming over with Kevin O'Connell. He is going to be put in that Cooper Kupp role, and I think he can do just as well as Cooper Kupp did last year.
Absolutely.
Maybe not win the Triple Crown, but maybe be near it. Maybe get to 2,000 yards. I don't think that's ever been done. And if something like that happens, I think he is in prime position to win this Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, with that extra game, there's always a chance for these records to be broken and just put up these unbelievable numbers. And yeah, Justin Jefferson, even without that Cooper Kupp offense, with Mike Zimmer being that defensive-minded head coach, still found a way to put up insane numbers. People say with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, this is still Kirk Cousins is a very competent quarterback. Yeah,
top 15.
Yeah. And they got ways to be able to complement his game, find ways to get him involved in the offense, to be that number one guy. I have him as my Offensive Player of the Year as well. I saw the pick and I was like,
great minds think alike.
Yeah, great minds think alike. It's just the co-host stuff. You know how it is.
It's that connection,
Yeah.
that we've built over the years.
Well, I've got that special guest connection for you here today. I'm actually going to say this right now. First hot take off the bat here. I don't think Justin Jefferson's a good pick. You're looking at offense here with a top running back in the sport.
Wait, back up. Why do you not think Justin Jefferson's a top pick? You got to explain it.
So he's going to be splitting yardage and touchdowns with Dalvin Cook, who's probably top 10 running back when all is said and done. And like you said, Kirk Cousins is a good QB, but he's also not elite in the way you look at like Rodgers or Brady, Josh Allen, one of those. I think Justin Jefferson's going to have himself a nice season, but I think when you're looking at a guy who's going to be splitting touchdowns with Dalvin Cook, splitting yards, that could very easily be a run-first offense, and that's easily an option. So I don't like the Jefferson pick.
The thing is, I feel like it's not going to be a run-first offense, though. That's what Mike Zimmer was. He was a lot more run-based, and now that O'Connell's in, he's got that Rams offense coming in. I think it's going to be a lot more passing.
There's going to also be games where Dalvin Cook is going to be out.
Yeah.
He has proven not to be the most healthy running back, and so when that time comes and Alexander Mattison has to come in and kind of take the first running back snaps, they're going to really heavily rely on that passing game with Justin Jefferson. And I think that in a division that is more wide open than ever with the Packers kind of without Devontae Adams, there's a lot of question marks over there. It could be a great story, too, just to get the Vikings back to prominence and have Justin Jefferson be that headline like Cooper Kupp was with the Rams.
But anyways, back to your pick.
This year I've got, and this might be a spoiler for another one of my picks coming up here for awards, but I think we all forgot just about how dominant King Henry, Derrick Henry himself was. That record-breaking running back season where he had some 2,000 yards. Was that the first time that happened since Chris Johnson or something?
Something
CJ2K.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think he's easily going to come right back, going to fit right into that offense. Like I said, another offense where the quarterback is not great. I mean, Ryan Tannehill. And I think that we're really getting situated here in a spot where Derrick Henry could have another one of those seasons. And I'm just excited to see it.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough because he is coming back from a foot injury. And Derrick Henry, you don't want to see him with any type of injury because of the way he runs, the way, he's very into getting contact, getting yards after contact. But, I wouldn't be surprised if he had just as good a season as last year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm personally not trying to bet on it because of the injury, and he did not look like himself when he was playing the Bengals in the playoffs. But I digress. If he is up near the top running backs again, it would be no surprise.
Yeah, as he ages too, are they going to be able to give him that same production as they've been doing 2 years ago? It's been a long time, especially with that foot injury, getting back into a rhythm of the game. And I think also something that you got to take into account is that quarterback battle. Not necessarily how it impacts Derrick Henry, but how it impacts the offense overall. Let's say Malik Willis comes in and there's just that turnover, having to kind of figure things out. He's going to take some carries away from Derrick Henry, especially with how Malik Willis is able to use with his legs. So I like the pick. I think Derrick Henry's still one of the best running backs, one of the best offensive players in this league. I'm just a little, it's cautious optimism. There it is.
I think that's kind of the same way I feel. But again, if Derrick Henry won this, would be no surprise.
Wouldn't shock me. King Henry for a reason.
All right, what about the Depoy, Defensive Player of the Year?
This is a fun one because you could really go anywhere with this.
Really
There's
can.
so many great players. And I think actually I'm looking at the list right now. I wouldn't be shocked if any of these players won it. For me, it's TJ Watt, someone who missed time and still, I think I don't know what the exact sack record was, but it was an unreal pace, and I think he's going to be heavily relied on to continue that for the Steelers team. They've slightly improved at quarterback, but they're still going to kind of run this team, rely on their defense as heavy as they did. Trubisky's an upgrade from the weekend at Bernie's Ben Roethlisberger type thing, but I think T.J. Watt could really replicate this and build off of last season's momentum. He was one of the sole reasons they even made the playoffs or touched the postseason.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the reasons that they were very good, and yeah, that he was their main source of income, I guess you could say. Main source of anything exciting was that defense, and he was the leader of that. So yeah, T.J. Watt to repeat. I could definitely see it. Kieran, what about you?
I'm not a big TJ Watt guy for this award. TJ Watt's good. I don't see it happening, and I don't want it to happen. I don't think he's breaking the Michael Strahan sack record. Maybe that extra game, but then even then there's like a little asterisk next to his record.
I think he only played like 15 games, and he was, I don't know what the exact number. It's like
he
a tip of my
did break
tongue.
it, correct?
Did he?
Yeah, I believe he broke it.
While we're waiting, Patrick, why don't you go ahead and give your pick?
Yeah. Anyways, TJ Watt, good pick. Kieran never gave his, but
I'll get to mine. I've got a few names here just because I'm a little bit indecisive. I'll spill all of them here. I've got one option's Micah Parsons, probably one of, if not the best linebacker in football these days. I don't see him winning it this year, though. I think it is going to be a defensive lineman, and that brings me to my top two picks here, either Myles Garrett or Aaron Donald. And I think if I was a betting man, I'd have to go with Aaron Donald. How are you going to pick against him? Throughout the past 5 years, he's probably been the best defensive player in the league, and kind of just like, if he continues to do it, probably putting himself on that all-time list for great defenders. Aaron Donald, I'm not going to bet against him. Easily going to be not easily, because there's a little debate there, but that's going to be my pick for Defensive Player of the Year this year.
fair enough.
I'm going to chime in real quick. So T.J. Watt played 15 games, and he tied the sack record for Michael Strahan.
Yeah, so.
That's what Google is telling me.
But anyways, my pick. You mentioned him, Kieran. I'm going to go Micah Parsons.
Dude's a game wrecker.
I think Defensive Player of the Year does tend to go to an edge rusher. Micah Parsons can definitely play there. I think a lot of these awards are narrative-based, and while maybe the Cowboys aren't going to do great this season, I think this is the year Micah Parsons really explodes onto the scene. I mean, he already has kind of done that. I believe he had 13 sacks last year, if I'm correct. But you're going to see that stat pop up of him playing defensive end, D tackle, linebacker, slot cornerback even. You're going to see him play all over the field. And you're going to see how well he's doing at all those positions. And I think, it's a narrative-driven award, and something like that could just elevate him to the next level, even just slightly above those other guys like T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald. I think also when it is a narrative-based award, like all these are, voters get fatigue. So, the likes of Aaron Donald, the likes of T.J. Watt, people are going to want something different.
Yeah.
And potentially that's where Michael Parsons comes in.
Yeah, the Cowboys are going to, like T.J. Watt with the Steelers last year, it's not going to be as bad just because the Cowboys have a more competent offense, but they're going to rely on Michael Parsons to make more big plays next year because it's going to get more difficult for them. It's almost a big question mark for Dallas this year. I don't know where they're headed direction-wise.
I would also add, I'm not too confident in the Cowboys too. I definitely don't think they're a surefire playoff team. And I think if the Cowboys do have struggles, like you talked about, narrative-based award, that's a bad narrative to be on that side. If the Cowboys are struggling, if they lose that NFC East playoff spot, that could be a spot where he really does not take the benefit.
It does benefit them on the other hand. If the Cowboys are barely on the surface and they barely make the playoffs, and it's like Micah Parsons has an unbelievable year, that's going to certainly help them, especially being on one of the most watched teams in just history. Yeah. It's going to be, it could either destroy his campaign or could completely create a fantastic one. It's got hand-in-hand stuff like that. Okay. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Patrick. This one's a weird one.
It is a weird one.
The quarterbacks, I see you have a quarterback pick, but I think you could go a lot of
I'm going to
directions.
explain it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, this is a year unlike any other because you don't have any of the quarterbacks really starting, at least to start the season.
Yeah.
And so that opens up guys like Olave, guys like, Garrett Wilson, even though he's had some struggles, I think, on the Jets, really elevating himself. Guys like Traylon Burks, guys like Breece Hall, even Dameon Pierce on the Texans. There are plenty of non-quarterbacks who are eligible to win this award. I mean, all the rookies are eligible, but really, really have a shot. But I'm using this space, using this award to elevate my take, to bring to the surface my take that Desmond Ridder is the best quarterback in this class. He looked very solid in preseason. He's looked solid in training camp. And I think even if it's 8 games he starts,
Okay.
if no rookie at that point has really, shown that they are the best rookie in this class on offense, and this award is still wide open, Desmond Ridder could come in. Maybe the Falcons don't win a ton of games, but he shows some promise. I think Marcus Mariota, I love Marcus Mariota. He's a solid dude. Not the best quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, he's all right. He's okay. And I'm interested to see what this Falcons offense looks like because they got a lot of movable pieces. But Arthur Smith has moved on from him before. He did it in Tennessee, moving on from Mariota to Ryan Tannehill. And potentially that's what he's planning to do in Atlanta. So Desmond Ridder, I think he was the most pro-ready quarterback coming out. I think he has the best combination of upside and being pro-ready already. So that's my take. You can come back. Freezing Cold Takes can come back and expose me later if I'm wrong.
That'd be
but
great
I don't
press for
think
the show.
I'm very confident in this take. So when Desmond Ridder is starting at the end of the year and has won Rookie of the Year, come back to this, and it's gonna be hype. That's all I can say.
I'm going to quote you on that, Patrick, in some video. It's going to be hype for Desmond Ridder.
That's right. I think that's a good take there, to be honest, especially looking at, you just saw Mitch Trubisky was named the QB1 for the Steelers there. That tells you Kenny Pickett, who I thought was a little bit overrated going into the draft anyways. And now he's starting to struggle. Clearly didn't win that starting job, so I definitely don't think that's a bad pick. At least for me, I don't see this going to a quarterback this year. Like you talked about, a weak quarterback class. I think we're going to the Big Apple here for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And we're going with Breece Hall. I guess New Jersey, so not the Big Apple.
Yeah.
They claim East Rutherford. We're going to the bigger apple. Let's go.
Yeah.
New Jersey.
Sure.
I've got Breece Hall winning it this year. I think the Jets are a bad team. I think they're the worst team in New Jersey, I guess, of the two teams that play there.
Okay, yeah.
They don't really have a good quarterback situation. I think Joe Flacco's the better of their two QBs. I don't think they have got a good quarterback situation, though. So I think it's going to be a really good run game. It's going to set them up for the opportunity for a lot of these. They're going to want to give their rookies some reps this year. I think this is Breece Hall's chance to shine. They're going to see kind of that talent. The Jets did look kind of good in preseason, so maybe they'll be able to. We'll see some production out of Breece Hall this year, but I think that's going to be my pick.
Potentially. My only question would be well, 2 questions actually. The offensive line with Mekhi Becton, though they did sign Dwayne Brown, I believe.
They did.
And then also, what is Michael Carter doing? I feel like it might be kind of a situation like last year with Melvin Gordon and Javonte.
Yeah, they're going to split.
Or maybe even this year if Javonte ends up taking over the entire backfield, but where Michael Carter's starting, maybe the first half of the season, and then by the end, Breece Hall is starting it. But
a good second half could win that award.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Chris Olave. I think this is a receiver that has a real chance to shine and really complement the Saints offense, especially with Jameis Winston coming back, which we'll talk about in a bit. With Michael Thomas, he's going to have a lot of attention directed his way, and I think there's going to be an opportunity for this Ohio State receiver to really. And I think I've heard a lot of good things based on what I've been reading and just seeing in general with Jameis Winston, the rapport that he's been able to build. This is more of an outside the box pick. I think that. He might not get as much attention as potentially Desmond Ridder if he starts to shine, or New York media with Breece Hall. If Breece Hall has a good season, the New York media will not stop talking about it, and it'll be a huge narrative boost for that pick. So I decided to go a little outside the box here and take the Ohio State receiver that has really been raved about since he's been drafted.
Solid. All right, on to Defensive Rookie of the Year. Kieran, why don't you start us off?
So yeah, I'm not skipping a beat, still staying in New Jersey. MetLife Stadium, beautiful sand. Not really. Nice stadium.
Yeah.
This was
I don't know if you can call it beautiful. But.
This was a tough pick here,
It's an
Patrick.
acquired taste.
I mean, it's concrete jungle.
Sure.
You know, I'm deciding here between two guys that play there in New Jersey, Kayvon Thibodeau and my man Sauce here.
Sauce.
And I think, as much as my heart wants it to be Kayvon, he looked good. He did get injured in that preseason game, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
And I do think Kayvon's going to be really good. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with on that Giants defense for years to come. But I do think it's going to have to be Sauce, especially seeing like this first week of college football. Cincinnati's defense struggled. They showed that they were probably a little bit of an over-ranked team. Did not deserve that. What were they, like number 23 or something?
Yeah, they're around that.
And they struggled. And there you looked at all those stats that were like, yeah, they didn't score a single touchdown pass off him in all of college football that year or stuff like that. And through all of preseason, at least the indications seemed to be the same, that he's a great corner. I think I saw this one like Instagram post that says he talks a lot of trash, but he backs it up with his play.
Yeah.
So I've got Sauce winning it all this year. That's my defensive rookie of the year.
You said your man. Are you? I know you're a Giants fan, but you really said your man Sauce
Might
Gardner
be a little
over
sacrilegious,
your man.
man.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
How dare you? Giants fan.
I mean, Thibodeau's gonna have a good season. Maybe we'll say runner-up.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, I actually agree with you on this Sauce pick. I just think, similar to what you said, if it's like Week 10 and you're watching a Jets game for whatever reason, I don't know why you would be.
Just like
but
don't like yourself.
Maybe for Sauce Gardner, but if you just see a graphic come up on the screen and it's like Sauce Gardner has been thrown to 0 times this entire season, or Sauce Gardner has had 0 completions thrown to him all season, like something like that. Again, with all these being like a narrative award, seeing a stat that crazy and him being able to maybe even keep up the trend of like not having a touchdown thrown against him since college started, I think that is just a ton of hype around him. He's got his own sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings now for a limited time.
That's too
apparently.
funny.
Sauce.
Yeah, the sauce. So
Sauce.
I think I'm gonna go with Sauce Gardner.
It's very Richard Sherman-esque in that terms of like he'd get the. I remember in 2014 they used the story that he got bored at some points just because he wasn't being thrown to. So that's what reminds me of it. I have Kyle Hamilton again. I just wanted to kind of go outside the box, and I'm sticking with this. We're talking about narratives here. Let's say the Ravens have an unbelievable season. They have this comeback. They had the starting 3. They fell apart. They missed the playoffs. Let's say they take that next step. They put it all together, and Kyle Hamilton is a part of that, making big plays. We've been stressing that narrative thing all show. That could be a part of it. And Kyle Hamilton, what we've seen him be able to do, especially at Notre Dame, what he's been able to build on with the Ravens, that could be a talented piece that is going to be so much fun to watch.
I like it. I like the Kyle Hamilton pick.
I guess real quick before we go into this next award, not to debate with you because we had the same pick, so then I'd be refuting myself a little bit. But did you say 0 targets in 10 weeks? That's ridiculous. That's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, he had 0 targets in preseason, so.
Yeah, but that's against second and third.
Somebody's
You never know.
somebody's going to test him at some
I mean,
point.
maybe, but
Maybe
if
Mac
he's
Jones.
locked down, I'm just saying that's
Something
not
like that,
necessarily,
okay.
but like if something like that happens.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, it's just kind of like.
some crazy stat comes up.
Yeah,
People are just
I
gonna
know.
be like, wow.
Yeah, we know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but all right, comeback player of the year.
Depoy.
I'll go ahead and share my pick, I guess. I'm gonna go Michael Thomas. I think he was the last time we saw him healthy, he was, the best wide receiver in America in the NFL. He won the Offensive Player of the Year award. He got the record for most receptions in a season, and I think now that he is at least looks like fully healthy, even though he has kind of been struggling with something, I think.
He'll run some mean slants this year.
I think he'll run a little bit more than just slants. With Jameis Winston being his quarterback now, he's free to run maybe even a post, maybe even a go ball.
Maybe even a 5-yard slant.
That's right.
I believe in the Saints offense. I believe in the Saints team. And I think Michael Thomas that award is going to be right there for his taking.
I think that it's going to be right there for his taking. Unfortunately, his quarterback's going to snatch it from him with the.
I almost went with Jameis.
Jameis eating W's,
that
Winston. He's going to be doing this a lot, eating W's along those lines. The Saints, I don't know if we picked the Saints to win the division, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did.
I was like, I want to pick them, but I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah,
So like,
they have historically owned Tom Brady since he's gone to the Saints.
This is true.
For some reason, besides that one playoff game, Tom Brady's just struggled. I mean, it's been a turnaround. But Jameis Winston, it goes along the same with that narrative. The ACL, he's also kind of a part of this meme culture that everyone seems to really enjoy him.
Yeah,
And he's really turned it around in terms of his just likability for some people. Famous Jameis, going from stealing crab legs to stealing comeback
behind
wins.
him. He could get everybody behind him.
Oh yeah. So I got him, and it feels like if it was between a quarterback and a wide receiver, they're gonna go with Winston in that sense. But if Michael Thomas has like a Cooper Kupp like year, then throw my hands in the air.
Okay, that's not gonna happen.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's gonna happen.
We're just throwing things out.
It's
here.
hypothetical.
There's no repercussions. So.
Sure, just hot takes today. For my comeback player of the year award, a guy I already mentioned here, but if I've got him winning offensive player of the year, how could I not also have him as comeback player of the year? Derrick Henry. If I really believe in that big season coming up, I feel like he's kind of the layup pick. Might be the betting odd favorite, but I've also got a little bit of a sleeper pick here for you. Plus 1,300, so I think this is like the same odds as Michael Thomas. So plus 1,300 for comeback player of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. He was out the last few weeks with a structural neck injury. He's back and better than ever. I really think this is going to be his year.
No.
Here, let me.
How about no?
Him having the same odds as
Derrick
Michael
Henry
Thomas
or
is
Michael
a
Thomas?
crime.
That's
They're-
certainly something.
Daniel Jones is a bottom tier QB.
No, okay, let me pull up some stats for you real quick. So this is in 38 career games. Daniel Jones has only played 38 career games. And I think this is compared to Josh Allen's first 38 career games. So we're looking at like a similar development track here. Jones in those games has been 12-25 as his record, really bad record. Josh Allen has been 23-15.
Well, right there, Josh Allen's a winner.
But it ends right there.
No, it doesn't. So
it ends right there.
Patrick,
He's
look at
standing
this.
up. Oh my goodness.
Wins are a team stat. Let's actually look at some of the stats here. Completion percentage. Daniel Jones 63%, Josh Allen 60%. Total yards per game. Daniel Jones 247, Josh Allen 249. Practically the same number. Now let's look at touchdowns to interceptions. Daniel Jones 45 touchdowns, 29 picks. Josh Allen 51 touchdowns, 28 picks. A little more touchdowns there, but like I said, when you've got Stephon Diggs on your team, when you've got these good wide receivers and just a better system, you get more touchdowns. That's how it works. So if you really look at the stats, these are similar QBs.
They're not at all.
Daniel Jones is just struggling because he's on a bad team. And I think what we've seen from him is we're seeing a QB who has the potential to be maybe top 10 down the line. The potential to be just a really great QB, kind of Josh Allen light, and he's just on a bad team, wasting away a lot of his talent here.
This is gold.
Okay, so
Top 10? I gotta ask you, who is Daniel Jones in your mind better than?
Yeah, if you know Kieran, you know about this take. But anyways,
It's a good take.
This is a shock
it
for
is
all the
not
fans
a good
back
take.
home.
Okay, so
Holy
first
cow.
off, Daniel Jones.
How many fumbles does he have per game?
You ended your argument right there when you said he is 12-25. Josh Allen is 23-15.
Okay, so Daniel Jones has had games where he has played perfectly fine in his career and they've still lost. The one game that stands out is the game against Washington last year. I believe it was Thursday Night Football. Daniel Jones won the PFF Player of the Week that week, and the Giants still lost.
Okay.
Which just shows this man can be the best player in football in the entire week, and the Giants will still let him down.
So I'm going to argue he was not the best player that week. He had 249 yards, 1 touchdown, and 95 rushing yards, okay? That's a fine week as a quarterback. Who else played that week? Aaron Rodgers, 255, 4 passing touchdowns. Mahomes, 343, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. Brady, 276 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns.
Okay, so Daniel Jones had 100 rushing yards that week too.
That's fine. That's fine. But
It's not like a 60-yard touchdown pass that was dropped by Darius Slayton that would have won them the game.
that's also one game. You showed us right there his career. He has a career like bad losing record. So that is, the overwhelming majority of his games compared to one.
Patrick, let me explain to you how PFF works.
You don't need to.
I'll explain for the fans who don't know. PFF grades you every play on basically how well you do your job that play. So if a quarterback gets sacked, but the tackle on the other side perfectly blocks his defender, he's going to get a good PFF grade that play. Daniel Jones having the high PFF grade that week basically means that in spite of his teammates dropping good passes, in spite of them dropping dimes that he threw right into their hands, in spite of all of this, in spite of O-linemen who aren't blocking, letting him get there, letting them get into the pocket, Daniel Jones still had the highest PFF grade, meaning when you look at the film and you grade his plays, this is why hating Daniel Jones is such a lazy take too.
Do you look at the film of all his other games?
Yeah, I watch every Giants. I'm a Giants fan, so
Grayson, do you want to chime in on this?
I'm at a loss for words, man. This was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. I'm in the camp that maybe Jones gets a lot of unnecessary hate, but there's also a lot of times where Jones has just made the most head-scratching mistakes, and he also
like when? Give me some exampes.
Bro,
we can pull
his entire career, he has shown no signs. I mean, he's worked on his fumble, his turnover issues a bit, but other than that, he has shown no signs of being a franchise quarterback.
He's got a 52% chance to fumble the ball in his career starts.
Yeah,
that's awful.
Josh Allen was showing signs of being a solid.
If he's winning Player of the Week, he's clearly got the ceiling there. We know what he can be. He has shown signs of greatness. I watched Eli Manning's career as a Giants fan. Daniel Jones is more talented than Eli Manning in almost every facet of football. He's a better runner. Eli Manning couldn't run the ball. He's more accurate as a passer. He's got a stronger arm. Daniel Jones is a good deep ball passer based on PFF grade, and he was in an offense with Jason Garrett calling plays that didn't really give him a shot to throw it deep. Here, let me ask you this. Who was my pick for, a little flashback to earlier in the show, who was my pick for MVP this year?
Actually,
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. What do you think Lamar Jackson's PFF grade was last year?
If his PFF grade is worse than Daniel Jones,
what do you
that's
think?
Not a relevant.
I've got pulled up for you.
They're not smart.
Here, look at this. PFF gave Lamar Jackson a 70.2.
Okay.
Now that's a green grade. 70.2 kind of sounds bad. It's not bad PFF grade. Very good. Daniel Jones last year, and just remember, this was Joe Judge's offense. This was not a good offense. Daniel Jones last year, PFF grade 71.1. Daniel Jones.
Didn't Daniel Jones play more games though?
No, Daniel Jones was injured. He had a structural neck injury. So Daniel Jones, in a worse system, had a higher PFF grade than
Weren't the Ravens 8-3 though?
Then Lamar. But Lamar Jackson's got a better team. And I think when you really look at it, the Giants are really in a good position. Brand new system under Brian Daboll. We talk about Josh Allen type breakout. This was a Bills guy, Brian Daboll. He was their coach. So now as the head coach, Brian Daboll had a quote where he says he has full trust in Daniel Jones for this year.
Yeah, we're getting the word from Zach that we gotta speed it up a little bit. But
if we had all the time in the world, we would.
This take is now live, is on air. It's going to be on the internet. So when this does not happen,
can I get one more quick word in here?
Sure.
Just wait, guys. I promise you will see. If Daniel Jones has a bad year, I might be a little bit closer to giving up on him. But
it might be. Okay.
The Giants had Saquon back to full health. They've got good O-line with Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal. This is the year, and I think we're going to see it.
Okay. Is Daniel Jones a Pro Bowler?
No. Okay. But he's got the potential to be. I have him as the 16th best QB in the league.
Okay. So maybe we do a future episode where we go more in depth with this.
I would like to have him back on when the Giants are 2-10.
Yes.
And
okay. So I think we were gonna do some game predictions, but that was something. So I guess we'll end on that. I mean,
let's quickly pick Thursday night.
Yeah. Well, the Rams and Bills are playing Thursday night. We'll go ahead and say. I mean, I think. Your MVP pick.
Yeah, I got to pick. I got to stick with Buffalo.
One.
Unfortunately, as a Patriots fan, it kills me that Buffalo's going to
I think Buffalo's going to win this game.
Yeah.
Rams have been struggling a little bit. They had Whitworth retire. They've had some issues, I think, in training camp. So I think the Bills got this one.
Yeah. I mean, just to go against the grain here, just for a little. I do think the Bills are going to win, but I'm going to go with the more fun take here. I've got the Rams winning it. I think that Rams defense, you got Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, another one of my picks here. I really see it. It's definitely going to be a close game, probably a high-scoring game if I had to bet, but just because it's fun and I want I want to be the one reaping the benefits if I'm correct. I'm going with the
All right.
Rams. Let's go.
All right. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this episode of the Cover 2. We want to thank Kieran, I guess, for
That's right. Hey, cover 3. Let's
coming
go.
on. Kieran, you want to shout anything out? You got any last words?
I guess just thank you for having me on. Y'all appreciate. Want to shout out the fans of the show. Really just
Tomorrow's going to be a fun one.
such an honor to be on the show. You can follow me on Twitter at GoodTakesKieran. I'll be posting some NFL takes there. I've got my full New York Giants record prediction posted. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, Grayson, any last thoughts?
I'm at a loss for words, so you got this.
All right. Well,
Let's go.
again, we want to thank y'all for tuning in to episode 31 of the Cover 2. Yeah, kind of like Grayson, I don't know. I don't have much to say. We're going to go ahead and end this.
This is how you start your
So Zach has less work to do. But thank y'all and have a great week.
Yep.
Let's go.